What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of B is for Build. I'm Chris. We're back on the M5. I know you guys are stoked to see this car. Last time we were working on it, we were just trying to get it to do a burnout. This time we are trying to properly button things up for a 1,000-mile drive back home. Stay tuned. I think it's important to have a little bit of a game plan when approaching this thing. Now we didn't bring a new hood and a new front bumper and a new front fender, but we did bring all the cooling stuff and the headlights, the things I thought were properly important to drive this car for 1,000 miles safety-wise. So my plan of attack right now is to go ahead and start to break some of this stuff down, make room for our new parts to come in, because we have a new front impact bar that has all the kind of attachments and the pieces that go up top. So I think it's important to break everything down first. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do right now. Looking good, except for that bent radiator. But we got the front impact bar off. One thing that I've noticed that I'm a little bit concerned about is underneath this headlight right here, there's a big plastic bracket, and I don't know if I have one of those for my headlight, so that's a little bit concerning. If I don't have that for over there, I won't be able to install it into the car. But everything else looks pretty good. So the next thing I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm trying to get this busted piece of plastic out of here right here. That way I can free up everything from itself as far as the different coolers, those 3 coolers right there, free them up and actually also be able to gain access behind it without draining all 3 of them and removing them. Originally, I did not want to pull the radiator out, but it looks like I have to. Unleash the beast. Got this broken down, further broken down than we've ever been before, and now it's time to start fixing things. So these Vanos sensors right here, at least that's what I believe they are, this one has a plug that's a little unhappy, and this one has a plug that seems to be maybe broken. So I'm going to go ahead and take that whole unit apart and look into fixing it. I got to be very careful because I think those are like 700 bucks a piece. And then if you remember, our water pump pulley seemed to be out of round, so I need to find the belt tensioner. There's not even a phone in here. Okay, I gotta find the belt tensioner, which I think is this one right here. Loosen up this belt, pull it off the water pump, and then go ahead and replace the water pump pulley. The Vanos sensors here are a little tricky, or at least that's what I believe they are. This one isn't damaged at all, but the little plug that goes on the back of it got a little too smushed, so I'm gonna have Calvin bring in the plastic welder tomorrow, and I'll do that one. Let me show you the other one. The other one had its plug kind of broken in the center and it was cocked over to the side, but the 2 electrical wires that run into this thing were both still intact. So what I did was I filled the crack with epoxy and went ahead and set it here in this vise with a little bit of padding to set it back straight, and overnight that'll dry and that'll be back to normal. Now I've just got to find this auto tensioner, pop off that pulley, and replace it, and then I feel like I've earned myself a beer for the night. Water pump pulley went back on without a hitch. That's the auto tensioner right there. It's the next day, and this Vanos sensor has dried up, and the epoxy went off without a hitch. It's really good looking. It's a little sideways, but at least it won't break off, and we got the solid connection with the metal there to protect it. So I'm gonna go ahead and reinstall that. And then that's it for this section. It's time to reintroduce, starting with the fan, radiator, AC condenser, and power steering pump, bringing that all back in. It sets on that ledge right there, and we'll reintroduce those things and connect them all up before we bring in the front impact bar.
I wonder what went wrong today. Why do I feel like I linger?
That really came together really nicely. We got a well-engineered kind of chunk of cooling stuff. So the fan connects into the radiator and this new shroud. So I'm really glad that we got this piece as a replacement. So you have the power steering cooler, AC condenser, radiator, and the fan, all one unit. And they have these little ledges right here on them, and that sets in right there on the ledge there. So I'm gonna go ahead and test fit this in here, and then probably start working on attaching the power steering. If you guys remember, this is garbage, that'll be undone. This connects up to that, just like OEM. I'm super stoked. That was a very modular, like, cooling piece right there, and it just installed really nicely. Oddly enough, I installed the power steering cooler first because that line was kind of in the way, but you can see now we're back to factory, going around, cooling, back to return. So the next thing that's a really annoying thing to do is install all the cooling lines and the bleeder valves. They're just hard to get on there, but I'll go ahead and struggle through getting those on there, and then that's the whole cooling system wrapped. Cooling system is in place, looking really good. I'm very happy about that. We actually went ahead and filled it, so everything is good. Now I'm gonna go ahead and bring in the new front impact bar and start test fitting that in there and see how everything looks. Impact bar is installed. It looks great. Did the headlight washers as well. Those are all installed up. This came with all the bracketry for the headlights, which is great. So you can tell this needs to move down to match up with that. And it's all looking really good. So next step is I'm going to go into my trunk and see what other parts I have for this space and fill it in. That is it for the front structural pieces. We got this big old thing on here, and this didn't quite make it. We were really close, but see, what you can see is like how this, on this side, it bends in. Over here, it's actually bent out. So what I'm gonna do is when I get home, I'm gonna use a stud welder and pull the frame of that out and pull this whole thing out and get it a little bit better sorted. But for now, it's pretty good. It covers up everything, helps keep the radiator in place and all that other good stuff. So that's about that. Next thing I'm gonna do now is go ahead and lift the car up, pull this wheel off, and hammer out the fender. See the fender, how it's bent in right here, and how the door has been pinching down there. I'm gonna go ahead and fix that problem. I think bending this out will help all that stuff. So I'm gonna pull the wheel out, bend that out, and work on this wheel liner as well, get the wheel liner sorted. That way we don't have any rubbing on the way home. There we go, a little hammer work, a little bit of body work, and it's in place enough. I got the door to stop popping, so we won't mar up the door panel anymore. Side note, look how big these rotors are. This is insane. The thickness of the rotor is pretty crazy. So next thing we gotta do, I'm gonna throw the wheel back on there. That'll be all buttoned up, and then it's time to mount the headlights. Lights are done. This last one's got a little bit of like sunburn to it. Obviously it needs to be polished and stuff to make that lens clear, and then it'll start to match up more with this. But then we also have the problem of this high beam right here not matching up with the high beam right there. So I got two options. One is to try and figure out that little piece of glass and see what I can do. If anybody knows in the comments, please drop a comment below. Or just ring up the company that sold me that. It was a decent price, and just buy one for that side too, and then I'll have two matching brand new headlights. I'm okay with that if we need to do that. It's not a big problem. So let's go ahead and slap on the front bumper, and then I can take it for a test drive. The bumper is on, more or less. We got it on the right way over here, a couple zip ties right here, and then I just went ahead and did a little drift stitch right here to hold it on. And just in time, because they're closing up shop, so let's go ahead and start it up for its first startup and back it out of here. Start. Aha, sounds so good. Something's unhappy. Oh, power steering? Yeah. Sounds like power steering's a little pissed off. We're gonna go ahead and top that off. Sounding a lot better. I just topped it off with the power steering fluid and gave it a couple minutes to work out the bubbles, and it sounds fantastic. It's doing well, cooling itself at idle. We got the heater on in the inside, just letting it bleed off, and everything is going really great. Next step is to get it out on the street. It is so ridiculously sunny here. I'm actually really gonna miss this. So the car last night made it to the hotel and it made it back. Next step, 1,000-mile drive back home. Will it make it? You'll have to tune in the next episode to find out. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Please remember, if you want to help out and support, head over to bsforbuild.com, scroll down to the shop, picking up any of the merchandise there. All goes directly towards supporting this build right now. And if you want to find us in more places, hey, what's up, Mickey? If you want to find us in more places, head over to our Instagram at bsforbuild. And if you want to see some builds get done a little bit faster, head over to our second channel, Built Not Bought. There we show different people's builds that have been done and they're finished, and it goes by a lot faster. I hope you guys are enjoying that too. Thank you guys so much for the support. I'll catch you tomorrow. Peace. Come on.